We have been recapping Premier League clubs each day now that the season is over, and today it is Liverpool. We're taking a deep dive on recapping the season and talking about what's ahead. Third place finish in the Premier Leagues, knocked out of the FA Cup by Manchester United at the quarter-final stage, won the League Cup, and then when it came to the Europa League, they were knocked out in the quarters by eventual winners Atalanta, finishing 9 points behind Manchester City in the Premier League. So we've asked you guys to give your report cards. And this is how things...
Hold on. Here. He's going to be in the echo again. Mr. Negative.
C+, Stevie.
Well, I was stuck between
Some of our lads gave Bs to Chelsea yesterday.
What's that got to do with Liverpool?
Just wondering.
Who gave Bs
I was
to
stuck.
Chelsea?
Who gave Bs to Chelsea yesterday? Ali gave a B to Chelsea yesterday.
You couldn't have
Gab gave a
B.
C.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and Frank gave a B. But anyway, this
Chelsea.
is Liverpool, and you give
Well,
it
it's
a
not
C.
fair asking us, bearing in mind.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 12 when he left school, and I was 10.
Aye, you got to take that into account.
Okay,
You know,
considered.
by the way, I had to look it up. When Pete, the producer, texted me, I had to look up...
What's a pass?
No, I had to look up if there was an A, an A minus, an A plus. I don't...
I called him. I said, Pete, what's
We don't
between a
do
B and a C?
Listen, when we were at school, you either passed or you were a dope.
Aye.
You passed or you were a dope. It was A, you were either... Yeah.
So what does a C+ mean to you then, Stevie, in this case?
Well, listen, you've got to look at the whole picture, right? You've got to look at the whole season. And as fantastic as it was, Liverpool were at one time going for 4 trophies. Everything was great. We'd found out Klopp was leaving, and every game was emotional, and the whole place was getting carried along in a wave of emotion. And they win the Carabao Cup with a bunch of kids, and it's like, wow, we've still got 3 other tournaments. What a season this could be. Well, unfortunately, it absolutely fell off the edge of a cliff. It fell off the edge of a cliff. And as I said, it's big picture. And at the start of the season, if somebody said, Liverpool, you're going to win a trophy, but it's going to be the least important one, the Carabao Cup, and that's it. And basically, you're going to be out of the Premier League race. Having been sitting at the top of the league with 7 games to go, with 3 to go, you're out it. People would have been scratching their head thinking, no, that's not possible. But that's what happened. They were sat at the top of the league with 7 games to go, and they won 3 out of 7. And we sit here, particularly as ex-players, and talk about this time. This is the time of the season when it counts. This is when we see who the big boys are. This is when we see what the teams are made of. And this is when we see if they're the real deal or not. And Liverpool couldn't respond. They fell off the edge of a cliff.
But
They won 3 games of the last 7.
You mentioned that.
I mean...
But that's if you ever thought they were the real deal in the first place. Which I've got to say, I never, ever felt they were going to go the whole hog with Man City.
But I didn't think they would have fallen out it so quickly. I figured that at least with maybe a couple of games or even the last game of the season, they would be in with a chance. To get yourself in that position with so few games left, you could, regardless of what we thought for the first half of the season, you've got to think by that stage they've got a chance of winning this. Surely.
See, I got to...
And they collapsed. So you can't give a B for collapsing when you've got everything in the palm of your hand and all of a sudden you just go like that.
Come to me for positivity.
Oh, because you've just...
See, what I did was I worked my way back the way. That's how I kind of tried to figure this. So I was thinking about it. So I worked my way back the way. So I said, what would I give City? And by the way, I'm going to say this now because I'm not doing that. If we're doing this, I'm not doing this again, right? Trust me. So I'm getting City's out of the way now.
Fair enough.
So I worked my way back. So I said, what would City? I gave City an A-. So I thought, well, A-, won the Premier League, lost to United in the Cup final, got beat by Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, got beat by Real Madrid, won the Premier League, it was an A. Then I thought, what about Arsenal then? Well, they've pushed all the way, it's a B+. So then I got to Liverpool. This is very in-depth here. But that's how bored I was today. And I thought it was a B, and I tell you why, slightly differently, was the Carabao Cup win, the injuries to the full-backs and the defenders, and Matip been out for the whole season, you know, missing. They lost Salah and Endo to the African Cup of Nations and the Asian Cup. They were in this title race almost all season, but to the end, and that is a criticism, to be fair. But I think they came up short with their squad. And where they came from last season's poor, what were they, 8th or something like that? I can't remember what they were. But they were off the charts bad compared to previous seasons. And so that was a much better season in the end than what I thought it was going to be, to be honest. And that's why I gave them a B.
Had the end of the season seen them playing with half a team as well, I could maybe go with you. But the fact is, they got their players back. They actually got the so-called big guns back. And it was the big guns that let them down when they came back. And that's why I've gone to the C+, because, well,
yeah,
you basically get your full squad back.
Well,
you get
even a B minus,
you get your first 11 back, and you completely collapse in the league, and you have an absolutely incredibly bad result, losing 3-0 at home, when you're thinking, listen, you've just got to play to not your very best, but somewhere near your best, and you can win this tournament. And they completely, again, fell off the face of a cliff.
Can't get me
How many times can you fall off a cliff in one season?
Chelsea, hold on.
Twice.
Gabinelli gave Chelsea a B.
Okay, before we go there, let me just say Liverpool finished 5th last season. It probably felt worse than that.
Yeah, 5th, 8th, 7th, 9th, 24th, 26th, 3rd. Hold on, how can you give Chelsea before Master?
I'm not allowed to talk about the other teams.
I'm getting them all out, so I don't have to do this again. Right, I'm going on holiday anyway. It doesn't matter.
Why don't you go check out our YouTube channel?
Where you going?
No, I can't. 4 million people do that. Don't
2 Bs.
How can you give Chelsea a B? How can you give Chelsea a B?
What would you give them?
I'd have to think about it. I'll tell you. No, I don't know.
There you go.
I tell you what, it's not a B, and it's probably not even a C. Right? At best, it'd go and be a D, and it'd be low down in the Ds.
Right. Marciano, let's stick to Liverpool then, and your B grade.
Yeah.
8 out of 10.
No, I totally agree with Greg. If you look at the two above them, City and Arsenal, they had an excellent season in the league. And in my opinion, Liverpool, they weren't in the best shape this year. And in my opinion, they overperformed. The players who were there, they had to keep track with City and Arsenal, and then you overcompensate. And then the top guns came in, and they weren't fully fit. They were also struggling. And doing that in a season where people are not in the best shape, and then coming in third, and you could see it in the loss against Atalanta that they weren't in the best shape. A 3-0 at home would never happen to Liverpool if they were in the best shape. But in the league, they hang on until the end, and then they lost it in the last 7 matches. But for me, a B is, how do you say, in Holland we say that's an 8. From 0 or from 1 to 10, it's an 8. It's not excellent, but it's good. And, I think next year it will be an A+.
Of course he does. I wonder why.
Well, not for him.
No, definitely not for him. He's so harsh.
D.
So we're going to go line by line, basically, in the positions in the Liverpool squad right now and take a look, basically, at the contributions this season, the games played, along with the goal contributions. Of Liverpool's forwards here, do you see anyone moving on, Stevie, from this list?
Ooh. Well, I honestly believe that probably Mohamed Salah would be top of the list. Listen, if you're going to get 100 million for him, I think you take it. I mean, you need a squad. Gakpo's a good player to bring off the bench, I think. And you need a squad. If Diogo Jota can keep himself fit, he's pushing for a starting spot all the time, particularly if Mo Salah leaves. I think Luis Diaz definitely has more to come. He's just got to put an end product on so many good things that he does. I guess the elephant in the room is Darwin Núñez. I mean, with a new manager, you may see a different Darwin Núñez. There might be a slight change in the way they go forward, which might help him, might suit him. He might start him at centre forward. He might make a good start and score goals, and off he goes. But again, it's a question mark, because so far Darwin Núñez has had good spells, but probably he's had more bad spells than good spells. So that would be the big question mark.
I wonder what Arne Slot would be thinking about Darwin Núñez, Marciano.
I think he will probably use him a lot because as Arne Slot likes to play with wingers, and he demands 200%. As a striker, you have to defend, and in his opinion, defense starts up front. And you have to be willing to give it all. He wants to put pressure from the get-go. So I don't know if Salah can really do that, what Arne Slot is going to demand from him. Of course, we all know Mo Salah has special qualities and he's so dangerous. But for the style of play Arne Slot wants to play, and it demands a lot of effort, a lot of energy, a lot of willpower. And in my opinion, the guys on the list are all able, because they're young, they're all able to do so. And I'm really wondering if Mo Salah is able to perform on that typical style of play Arne wants to play.
You're sensible when you're Liverpool. You take, if any big money comes along, you absolutely snap it up, because that's only going one way now, isn't it? Salah, it's only going one way, downhill, right? Unless he's some freak of mother nature.
Agree.
He's only going. The numbers are going to go downhill. So if Liverpool are sensible, you take the money, you let him go off and get his payday, and the manager moves on with maybe a new signing or just different personnel. In terms of Darwin Núñez, and what Marciano was saying, Slot likes everybody to be pressing and working hard from the front. There's never been a criticism of Núñez for that part of his game. The guy is heart on the sleeve every game, running around, working hard, fighting with defenders, running the channel, closing down goalkeepers. If you remember the Man City game when he wins the penalty, closing down Ederson. It's somehow he has to have the composure in the final third with the end product. Otherwise, he's going to have the same problems under the new manager as he did in the end under Jurgen Klopp.
I think a little pointer that Liverpool are going to go and sign some players is the fact that they brought Michael Edwards back. I mean, this is the guy who signed Salah, who signed Mane for Liverpool. This is a guy who goes and gets players. And you don't go and re-sign this guy unless you're looking to do that. So I think there's no question Liverpool are looking to bring players in. And to do that, you need money. And if you're going to get 100 million for Salah, there's your money.
That suddenly changes things a bit. Let's take a look at the midfielders. Let me go back to you here, Craig, because if you look at Liverpool's midfield right now, is this a midfield that's capable of winning the Premier League next season? Or if not, who do they need to bring in?
Well, Thiago's gone. Bajcetic was a youngster, he was out injured, so was McConnell. Endo got better as the year went on, he really looked good. I think the jury's still out in Gravenberch. Not saying he's a bad player, but where is he going to use? Harvey Elliott's a good squad player, tidy, gets his close to goals, can come on and make a difference. I would say the same with Curtis Jones. So you could argue, look, I think Szoboszlai and McAllister, if you supplemented those two with another high-quality midfielder, then you're in the ball game. Not saying that. I think the big question would be is Wataru Endo, as good as he was at times last year, is he that player? That's a question only the Dutch manager can answer. I certainly think we know McAllister and Szoboszlai are the real deal, but I think they probably need another one in there of real quality to allow both of those players. Because McAllister ended up playing a little bit deeper at times last year, and not when Endo was around, but when Endo wasn't around. And he likes to really play further forward, and so does Szoboszlai. And I think if Liverpool can do... That's why they tried to sign Caicedo. That's why they tried to sign Lavia from Southampton, two players that went to Chelsea, for that reason. And I think they're going to have... Well, they're not going to. I think if they want to challenge, they need an extra midfielder.
And Endo probably falls into the same bracket as Gakpo. You need a squad. You You know, if you're going to be fighting on all fronts, you need a squad, and you need a quality squad. So Wendell, for me, falls into that same category. If you can get somebody, I'm with Craig Arnold's again, you can get somebody alongside McAllister, Slobozlai, then you're in business.
All right, let's get to the defenders then, and I'll come to you here, Marciano,
Wow.
because
This is tough.
Yeah.
this is an area here. Stevie says this is tough. What do you make of this list here, and what's ahead?
As I said, it's going to be a challenge for all defenders. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to have fun with Arne Slot, because at Feyenoord we had Geertruida in that role, and he played more as a midfielder than a defender. He builds up with 2 or 3 from the back, and he tries to create an extra player on midfield. And coming back to the midfielders, just quick, it's a very dynamic midfield. He wants a 6. He wants an intelligent number 6, you know, who sits in front of the defense, who's willing to get the ball, and then he wants an 8 who goes box to box, but even further into the box, you know, and a creative number 10. If I look at the defenders, he's going to demand from all the defenders that they are really able or willing to also participate in the attack, you know, not going past the midfielders, but in his opinion, you know, the left back is playing more like a winger. The 2 in the center, they need to pass the ball between the lines. It's going to be highly attractive, but you have to be able to do so. And it's also a little bit a dare, you know. Can I do it? Am I not too afraid to perform and do what the manager is asking from me? And if he gets them that far, also the defenders, it's going to be a success.
Well, Matip's gone, isn't he? Because he was on waving, unless he's waving at the crowd on the last day of the season, getting introduced by a mic and doing an about film. He's gone. You have to think that Arne Slot, you have to think that Virgil van Dijk could be driving some thought process about signings behind the scenes. You've got the captain of the club. He's Dutch the same as the manager coming in. The manager has to be leaning on him on the phone saying, listen, what do we need? What do you think we need? And see if that aligns with what I think and what the recruitment thinks. Do you think this back line, do you think you need another centre-half partner? Or is Konate going to be good enough? He was quite injury-prone, I think. Was he last year? I can't remember. He missed a lot of games. You have to think he's leaning on Van Dijk's experience and honesty and say, listen, can we go with Robertson, Hugh, Konate, Trent Alexander, with Konza, Gomez and 1 or 2 fill-ins? Can we go with that, or do we need to strengthen? And, you know, if he's not leaning on him, I would be surprised.
Marciano, you were smiling then when Craig mentioned him potentially ringing Virgil van Dijk about this.
Yeah, there was an interview here in Holland just yesterday. And, of course, we are all here curious whether Virgil had conversations with Arne Slot. And he said he didn't know him, you know, as a person. Of course, he knows what he's capable of and what he achieved. But he said he had a conversation with him, and it was a good conversation. I don't know whether they talked about players or the back line, whether it's good enough. But I can imagine, that's why I was smiling. I can imagine that they had a little chit-chat about the standards and what Arne wants to bring to Liverpool, you know, as a style of play. And it's going to be a lot similar to Klopp, but, you know, this is going to be even more exciting if he gets the time, you know, because in the beginning, he's going to substitute players, whether they don't bring what he wants. He's really hard on that, you know. If you don't bring what he wants and what he demands, he's substituting. Doesn't matter who you are or how big your name is. He wants to see that you really dare to play, you know, like you go for it. And if you lose, you lose. But you know, in the end, you will see you will make progress with the team. And I do believe that they had a conversation whether some players are staying, or maybe Virgil can push a little bit for players to stay. And maybe Virgil said, you know, we need something maybe in the back because we have a lot of injury. And if the top players aren't fit, then we might be a little bit more weak than we should be.
Well, if he wasn't phoning about players, Stevie, and talking to him about players, he must have been talking to him about what pub to go to in Liverpool. If that's the case, he rang the wrong person. He should have rang you.
Well,
you could have told him that.
Here's the thing, right? I would think the first question to Virgil would be, are you staying? He's only got a year left in his contract. What are you doing? I would have thought that must be the first thing that he has to find out. Where's your head at? Are you want to go now? Are you going to leave in a year's time? I mean, that surely has to be the question. And if he wants to leave, that's a disaster. Because when you look at Liverpool's back four over the last, not just last season, but the last couple of seasons, this back four has been miles away from, 4 years ago, where if they lost a goal, you're scratching your head. They were so in tune, the line was perfect, it wasn't two up, two back, one straggler. The last two, maybe even 2.5 seasons, they've been all over the shop. And so we've talked about the front players, the middle players. I think it's an even bigger decision what he does with the back line. Because Alexander-Arnold can't play right back. He can't defend. Kanate, I think, is a complete and utter head-scratcher. I have no idea what the problem's been with him. I thought that Kanate and Van Dijk would be the starting centre-back partnership. But for some reason, he was in, he was out, he was off, he never... He hardly played 2 games in the trot. And then you got Quansah. I don't think... If Quansah's... It's a little harsh to make a decision on him, whether he's ready, but I'm not sure he's the answer. Robertson, that wasn't his best season last year. I mean, there are so many questions about Liverpool's back four. And as I said, the most important question is, what are you doing? Ask Virgil van Dijk. What are you doing? What is in your head? Because if his head is about either leaving now or leaving next year, is he the guy you want to start talking to about building your back line? Not so sure. OK,
so we've done some silly things as well here when it comes to these season recaps. We're also doing the way too early next season predictions in terms of where this team will finish in the Premier League table. Craig.
Liverpool?
Yes.
Liverpool? Well, City are not going anywhere at the moment. Neither are Arsenal, with their managers and their players. So, we've talked about Chelsea today in the show. Man United is up in the air still.
Tomorrow we talk Villa.
I'm off tomorrow. Yeah, Villa, he signed another new extension again after he signed a big long contract with Emery to 2029, so there's stability there. It's a tough one. Tottenham. I'm going to say 4th. Okay. Yeah, I don't think a new manager can come in and just pick up the reins from Klopp and challenge City and maybe Arsenal straight away. I don't. I'm going to go 4th.
4th, Marciano?
I'm going to go 3rd. In the first season, just like he did at Feyenoord, you know, it's going to take some time, you know, to get the team to perform as how he wants. So I would say 3rd, and then in the next season, the second season, they will really fight for the championship.
Stevie?
I'm with Marciano. I think 3rd. And a lot of that's to do with the other teams. You know, Villa have gotten 4th this year from nowhere. We didn't expect that at all. Can they do it 2 years in the trot? That's a huge question. Tottenham are going to have to change slightly the way they go about it, because they can't just be flat out open all the time, which makes them inconsistent. United are going to have to get rid of a lot of players and sign some players, and a lot of the ones that they need to get rid of, I don't think they can. Chelsea.
Newcastle.
Are Chelsea going to be any better? Newcastle. If there was a team that maybe... Yeah, I'm going to go 3rd.
Would that be a B or a C+? You've not thought about it.
I don't know. Depends how they finish the season next year.
All right. Marciano, a B+. There you go. Thank you so much for being with us. We look forward to speaking to you again soon.
You're welcome. See you soon. Bye,
See you
guys.
soon.